Hello everyone, it's Eric coming to you from our 12-foot enclosed trailer that Descend calls home. This is where we, come up with all our designs and our little think tank, little enclosed trailer. Anyways, I get asked a lot how some kid who is working as an engineer in a cubicle in a little suburb of Michigan, came to be down here in the Florida Keys and owning 2 dive shops and spearfishing and shark diving for a living. And so I remembered a couple years ago, my marketing manager for Almirada Dive Center interviewed me and kind of asked me my story and how I got here. And so I kind of went back to the archives and dusted that old video off, and I thought it would be something pretty cool for you guys to check out. Maybe even motivate some of you who have that dream as well. So here it is, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks.
I'm Eric Billups, and I'm proud owner of the Almirada Dive Center. I have a pretty unique story. I started diving in the cold waters, the Great Lakes of Michigan, and fell in love with it, even though it was super cold. And my life was in Michigan. I was an engineer in Michigan, but on the side, I kind of helped out the local dive shop as an instructor. And fate, if you want to say that, fate intervened, and I did a move. I mean, the Michigan construction industry kind of failed in 2008, so I decided to do a little sabbatical and move down to the Florida Keys and be a scuba bum for a few months and get my head straight and be an instructor down here in the Keys. That 3-month sabbatical turned into now almost 15 years, and my little 3-month sabbatical as an instructor turned into owning 2 of the bigger dive shops here in the Florida Keys. My timeline, if you will, in Michigan I was a dive master, just a dive master, helping out again with the local dive shop. And when I decided to do my little sabbatical, I came to the Keys and became an instructor. Once I became an instructor here in the Keys, I decided to go back to Michigan and help out with instructing police officers, firemen, ice diving recovery, swift water rescue and recovery, pretty much all very cold and sketchy work. So I realized that wasn't so much fun. So I came back to the Keys, and this is where I've been now for the last 12 years. People often ask, well, you came down here, as a dive master and you got your instructor, so I was the grunt, I was hauling tanks, filling tanks, whatever it took, folding t-shirts, whatever, through numerous different dive shops down here. And I love telling this story. You never know who you're gonna meet when you're diving down here, because our boats are full of people from around the world, from all walks of life. And fate would have it that I met 2 people that would change my life years after. And what happened is, after being in the industry for about 5 years down here as an instructor and as a boat captain, as a spearfishing instructor, an opportunity came where a dive shop located at the Postcard Inn Resort. Actually, the Postcard Inn Resort, the general manager they hired was an old student of mine. So I get this random phone call one day. I'm still just a poor scuba instructor down here, and I get this phone call, and it's from one of my students that I certified a couple years ago. And he said, Eric, I don't know if you remember me. My name is Greg, and I got hired as the general manager at Postcard Inn in Almirada. I don't know anybody down there, and I'm moving there in 2 days. You want to grab a beer? And so I said, sure. Took me a minute to realize who he was, but then when I did, I said, yeah, absolutely. So I met Greg at a bar called Rum Runners at Postcard Inn Resort, where he was now the new general manager. And during our conversations, I kind of threw out, your dive shop here on property needs some plastic surgery, and it needs a facelift. It's dated, it's old. Why don't you bring me in? I'll run that thing over a few beers, right? So he chuckled on it, and about 2 weeks later, I get another phone call from old Greg, and he said, "Hey man, I did what you told me to do. I kicked out the old dive shop guy, and you've got 30 days. So at that moment, at that phone call, my whole life changed. After that phone call, and I kind of settled down a little bit and got my wits to me, if you will, I made another phone call. And this phone call was to another student of mine who I met on a dive boat in the industry, a fella who is doing really well in life. He owns a very large construction company. And I called him and I told him my situation. Well, he flew down the next day. He toured the property. We went through the dive shop, unknown who we were. And we sat down and he said, "How much do you need?" And I told him, and he wrote me a check that day. And so then my life changed even more drastically. And that was it. So between two of my students that I met in the industry is the reason that I sit here today, owner of the Almirada Dive Center and now the Florida Keys Dive Center. The opportunities in the dive industry go beyond just being an instructor. And I think that kind of gets lost sometimes. You know, we have people who are accountants, and they're sitting in their cubicle looking out the window at the snow falling and going, "Man, I would love to do what you do." Well, come down and do it, right? Get your instructor rating, take that accounting expertise and apply it. I need accountants, you know. I would love to have accountants that also are my instructors. You know, the guy behind the counter right now is an instructor, and he also runs my marketing, my social media. So the opportunities here go beyond just an instructor. You know, people love coral restoration. All right, man, go for that. Use that. That's your niche. People love, I mentioned spearfishing. Go for that. That's your niche. You know, there's tech diving. There's full face. There's Dive Heart, where we train divers with disabilities. That's your game. Go for it. You know, so don't just sit here and go, "I'm an instructor, and I'm cool. That's it. I'm done." No, there's so many different levels and avenues you can take to fulfill your career, and many more opportunities to do it. And you know, bottom line, make a little extra scratch down here as well. I think some people are realizing now that there's life outside of the pigeonholes that society put you in. Our world is a technical driven industry right now, and I think people are realizing that you can actually make a living, where you have to wear flip-flops and a bathing suit to work every day, and you can survive. So I see that kind of that change where people are realizing that, and they're getting out of, the day-to-day grind, and they're handing in their briefcase and tie and cubicle for a pair of sandals, a bathing suit, and a mask. And so I see that kind of improving, and I think it's awesome that people are realizing that you can pursue this dream. It's not unattainable. I'm sitting here, I did it. Tyler's behind the camera, he did it. Sophia's done it, Sienna's done it, my whole entire staff has done it. And so can you. So I urge people to take that leap. And then as far as the industry goes, I think the world now has opened their eyes that we need to start protecting and preserving our planet. And that is definitely apparent here in the dive industry. Both our shops here are highly, highly, highly dedicated to our conservation efforts, whether it's coral restoration, planting corals on these reefs that unfortunately a disease came by and wiped them out, and they're responding. These reefs are responding. They're gonna come back because of our efforts and other efforts of the dive shops in the industry, and because of your efforts as instructors. These reefs are coming back for generations now that we'll be able to enjoy them. Our sharks are in jeopardy. Big passion of mine. We now are the leading shark awareness conservation shop in the country. We educate people. And when I say we, these are my instructors. These are you guys that end up in this industry as a career. Now are not only instructing people, but they're instructing people and educating people how to protect sharks. They're advocates, how to protect sharks, how to restore our coral reefs. dive against debris, going out and cleaning up our oceans. I mean, I could go on and on when it comes to this conservation stuff, and it's so cool, and it's there for anybody to get into and make a career out of. You know, so you've heard about the opportunities here, and you know, you're sitting here and you're watching me talk on YouTube, and you know, maybe your juices are flowing a little bit. I urge you, make the call. You got to take that next step. That next step is picking up the phone and calling our general manager, our course director, Josh, and after talking to him for a few minutes, you'll be on a plane. I'll see you down here sitting next to me on that boat, going out and doing what I just explained. It's an amazing step. It's a scary step, and I understand that, but take that step. Take the next step, call us, check out AlamaradoProCenter.com, call Josh, come down here and join us and be one of us. Your whole life will change.